Hello, my friends. This is Sandy, and this video is going to walk us through my Boho Vibes Trusty Tools 12-page workshop. So you will need the Trusty Tools stamp set and some ribbon. Um, if you're coming to my house, I've got all this. You can just use mine, but you will need a black ink for sure. Again, come over and just use all my stuff. It'll make your life easier. And you'll need a few other inks that coordinate with these colors. I wanted to show you before I really get going on this. First, the things that I used to create this lovely pile of goodness for you. Okay, so the first thing here is the Trusty Tools dies. They're awesome. Look at all the different things that we can build with these fabulous tools. The other dies that I used are the textured notes dies, and you are going to see a lot of artwork done with this coming up for me because they are so beautiful and a great way to add a little extra texture, ha ha ha, texture to your artwork without doing a lot of extra work itself. All right, so if you got my kit, you've got this little flyer that tells you all the things that you need to pull, all the things I used to create this project with. You also have this handy dandy little bag that's got your trinket embellishments in there and all the pieces cut for all the cards. So these are all the things that you're going to want to go through, and I've created a lovely cheat sheet for us. So all of the tools and pencils and paintbrushes, all these things are going to get stamped, I recommend, with the Memento ink. It doesn't smear. You don't have that issue when you're coloring it later. Most of this stamping through here, aside from this one and this one, were done with a Secret C. If you don't have the new color Secret C and you are a former close to my heart person, use Harbor. That's the best choice for all of this. And then here I used a dark red, and this one I used a dark green. But again, otherwise I either used black or Secret C. Okay, and so I cheated and I did my bag of stamping up already. So I'm going to trade this one for that one, and we're going to get started on our first card. So on this first card, you'll see in the middle of the card there, I just have the word awesome, but the stamp says, "You're the most awesome." I used my scissors and cut the word awesome out. So now "You're the most" is a separate stamp from awesome. I also did the same thing with Happy Father's Day. So I've got Happy Day and Father's that I can use all separate. Okay, so in our first envelope here, when you pull this out, you're going to want to stamp whatever your word is that's going to go in the middle of your card. You could put happy birthday in there, thank you, whatever is feeling festive. This would make a great graduation card. Oh my goodness. Right, so I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle. And then you've got a plastic piece and a lovely silver metallic frame. You're going to glue these two together and cut the plastic off from around the edge. So I've got my plastic on there. I've also wrapped some ribbon around that whole thing and just done a double knot right there. Next, oh, and I put some of the Itty Bitty Bokeh mix on where I stamped awesome. Now I'm going to take my foam tape and I'm going to wrap that all the way around all four of the edges so that this is completely sealed. So my foam tape is all the way around the edge now. I'm just going to peel the backing off. You want to make sure before you attach this to your card front that all of your stuff is toward the middle there so it doesn't get stuck on any of the foam tape, and because then you end up with a gap and all of your shaker falls out. That's no good. All right, so I'm doing my best to frame this in the center. Nice firm press. You're going to need one of the yellow pencils, and if you want, on this one, I colored down here in white gel, did a little bit of metallic silver, and then did crushed curry on the top so it looked like an eraser. Or for now, for this one, I'm just going to take this, and it looks like it's going through the ribbon, but it's actually just tucked behind the ribbon. So you want it to come out the side. Make sure it doesn't come off the edge of the card here. And we've got a shake. So this is going to go on the front of a card. Right now I haven't attached it to anything. And then I added one of those trinkets right in the top corner of that card just to finish it up. For this next card from your bag of goodies, you need the thank you, the piece that you stamped thank you, and I did a couple little nuts and bolts in the blue. Again, all of this is from this stamp set, so it's this little stamp right here. It's got those three. This wrench that's done in silver, and then this wrench and that wrench, all from the bag. Now, what I did was I used my scissors and I fussy cut the silvery part or the gray part of this wrench out. So all the way around those edges, you can even just keep your scissors the right kind of lined up on the black line there. But you want to be closer to the outside than the inside so you don't accidentally nick that wrench. So once you get, and I'm only going to fussy cut this in on screen one time, so you only have to see me do this once so you get a feel. But you can do this, think about how your paper piecing, sorry, how much fun that can be with all these different layers. So I'm just going to add some adhesive and stick that right on here. And now we've got that other wrench. Okay, so card base. We're going to take this striped piece and that's going to go on the front of the card. I also, on my sample here, I stamped those nuts and bolts on the blue stripes. So up to you if you decide you want to do that. Then this piece is going to go a little bit north. So you've got a little more space at the bottom than at the top. We're going to attach, just like we did last time, the frame. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera, but that's because I don't want to tape on my mat. All right. So we've got our frame, and if you need to, if it wasn't quite lined up right, just take your scissors and trim the excess. And our thank you gets framed here. Then this time I'm going to use, if you haven't played with these yet, make sure you come over and play with them. It's the Loose Shaker Elements. They've got these little plastic springy things in them that looks like confetti. It's like, like you're at a party and there's little streamers everywhere. So it really makes a fabulous filler. All right. And then I'm just going to run my foam tape around the edges on the plastic here, and that will seal all of that shaker right in. Foam tape on the back. This is going to line up right on the white piece. So now we've got our shaker. Yay. Okay, and then I'm putting down the silver wrench first. You just want to make sure it does not go, be on the edge of the card. And then this other wrench, I'm going to have that come kind of right up into the shaker there. And then to finish this off, I did add little white lines with a white gel pen along there, just to add a little extra something to it. But how fun is that? Let's move on to our next. For this card from your bag of tricks, you need 6 paintbrushes and You're the Most Awesome. You're the Most Awesome is going to get framed on this silver paper. Then we're going to add, isn't this fun here, how I did that in that die cut, that really fun frame. Okay, I want the red on that side. So this is going here, and then I'm going to attach that to the front of the card. Okay, so now You're the Most Awesome is going to get framed a ½ inch up from the edge on that rainbow piece. So in my sample, let me bring this up close so you can see. I took from this stamp set, there's this tiny little piece here that is the bottom of the paintbrush. So I did like stamped it. So this is Cajun Craze, stamp it in Cajun Craze 2 or 3 times so it gets really dark. So each of these, if you just stamp it several times, or you can even color that in, or it works perfectly fine just like this too, right? You could leave it just plain and it would still look lovely. The other element that I added is using a silver metallic pen, just adding like the metal part of that to the paintbrush. So you decide how much or little of that you want to do. The other thing that I did, which is crazy, is I fussy cut around each one of these, like how I did on the wrench on the last one. I did that on every single one of these so that you don't have any edges around it. That was crazy. So totally up to you how much or little of that you want to do. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to just tape. Yeah. I'm just going to tape these suckers right down. So I want to stagger them. I want the red one to come down, and then the pink one is going to overlap it. And then got this secret C that's going to overlap here. Our yellow one goes up in the corner here, as close to the edge, but you don't want it really hanging over. Luckily, the green paintbrush is going to kind of fall right like this and cover up a little bit of where the yellow overlaps the green there. And you can use foam tape if you want to pop that up, or you can leave it flat. And then we've got this last paintbrush that I'm going to put right down in there in the middle of it all. And then you just want to take your scissors and trim off any of those overhangs. Okay, and then again, to finish it up, add whatever color you want to add your layers. And I used the white gel pen and just added little lines into the paintbrush to kind of enhance the bristles. But that was a lot. So you decide if you want to do that or not. And then boom, one of your trinkets right there. So the best way to apply those trinkets is those little dots. These guys right here. So if you take one of the trinkets and just kiss it right to this dot, right? So that dot's now on the end, and this white piece pulls right off, then you can tack that, boom, right on there. Hooray! Isn't that great? Love it. All right, let's move on to our next. With this one, for the goodie bag, from the goodie bag, you need the yellow measuring tape, 2 hammers, one that's dark blue and one that's kind of light blue, and the happy day. And then you need a piece of ribbon that's got a knot on one end, about an inch from the end. Okay, and so from our envelope, we are going to attach the base to that first layer of paper. And I'm doing mine so that it looks like sunshine, but you also could do it the other way. It's not upside down, it's just the other way. No big deal. All right, so we've got more layers that are going on top of that. We've got that fun, oh goodness. So let me just point out where that came from. This piece right here came from this die cut that cuts all those little holes in it for you. Isn't that fun? I love it. Okay. So that's just going to go on the silver, and then the silver is going to get attached to the white. Ooh, but don't attach that yet. First, we're going to add our ribbon. So that ribbon's going to hang down and get attached to that glue on the back, and maybe even give it another bit of that. And that gets attached to the middle of the white. Then for this ribbon, I'm just going to cut that even shorter, and using another one of those little dots of glue, just attach that to the knot. Right, there it goes. Goodness. Attach it to the knot. All right, and that's going to come straight down. All right, so we've got our ribbon there. Then the hammers, we're going to do the same thing we did before. This time we're just going to cut off the bottom part of the hammer and attach the handle, the dark blue handle, to the light blue base. And then we want to hang that hammer on this rack with the word happy overlapping that. And that is actually going to come off and out to the dark blue. So let me get this attached to the card first. Okay, so there's that on the card. And now this is going to go down here. And then I colored this. This stamp right here fits in the middle of the measuring tape. So you can stamp that, or you can color it however you want to do it. For now, I'm just going to tape it down, and I'm going to do all of my coloring while I'm watching TV later. Right? And then finish this off again with the coloring, and then add a little trinket. Fun, fun, fun. All right, so with this card, you're going to start by adding that piece to the card base. Layer these two pieces up, and those are going to go front and center on the card. Then we've got the piece that we stamped earlier, or maybe not. This is Happy Father's Day. So I didn't stamp this because I really don't need a lot of Father's Day cards for my dad, right? But it still can say Happy Father's Day. It's actually going to end up saying Happy Birthday. I'll stamp that later. So this is going on at an angle. And then we're going to take our glitter paper and do the same angle underneath it. And I did it more to the top of the card than the bottom of the card. And you just want to make sure that you've got all these points hanging off the edge, and we'll give that a little trim. Okay, the pieces from our goodie bag are the blue, or the yellow, what's that called? Electric drill. And then we need the silver piece that's going to go with that and two little screws, one that's looking, down at it and one that's looking from the side. So the one from the side, I'm going to stick at the top, up in here. This one's going to go down at the bottom. Then I've got my drill. And I'm going to do it an angle down here. It's coming down. I want to see it all the way. I have a little bit of blue showing, angled like that. And then this piece here, because you're taping it to glitter, I recommend using some of this glue. These things are wonderful. So easy to use. And if it hangs off the edge a little, just fold it on in. Take the backings off of those and then attach that right under. All right, now for this ribbon, I took a little more than I needed and made two bunny ears and just did a knot. Then once you get to this point, you're going to fussy with it a little bit and kind of work it until you get those pieces to fall just the way you want them to. But presto changeo, you've got a bow, right? Pull that tight. And then I'm just going to trim so that I've got, oh, actually I'm going to do almost no tail on these guys. And if you use several glue dots, you can be very specific about how this is all going to fall together so that it looks just the way you want it to. And then finish this one off with another one of those trinkets. So from the goodie bag, you need 6 pencils, happy day, and from your ribbon, I would just tie a little bow. Then the card starts with adding that front to the base. We've got the words, or the photo, not photo, sentiment well. There we go, sentiment well. That's going to go right in the middle. You can use foam tape if you want to pop up the happy day. That will go right there. Then with these pencils, I'm just going to take and put glue on the back of each of them. Let me bring this close so you can decide if you want to do this. I did add a little bit of white to each of them. You could also color all the erasers. You could add a little white down at the tip of the pencil. Whatever you decide you want to do, I'm just going to keep it simple for this video. Just give you the options that you really could jazz it up quite a bit. But I'm just getting glue on all pencils. And I think the easiest way to do that is 2 at a time because it's the perfect width for my stuff. All right, so I want them all to collect over here. I'm going to just start really wherever you want to start and angle them in. I know I want this pink one to come way over here. I'm going to give that one quite an angle. I'm going to put the green one over here and again give it a little bit of an angle. Then we've got this light blue that I'm going to put next to the pink. Ooh, I'm going to actually move the pink just a little bit. And then this yellow one's going to come right through the middle. All right, so we've got this nice cluster of pencils, but it looks a little weird in the middle until you add that little bit of bow. So I'm going to just taper it down a little bit. And again, using one of those little dots on the back side of the knot. Just add my little bow right there. And then finish this one off with one of the little trinkets. But that one's done. Let's get happy, happy, happy. So these two peachish colored strips are going to go along the outside of the card. And then that blue piece is going to go in the middle. So I'm going to show you how I stamped that happy. That's pretty cool. Now remember, I told you earlier, I took my stamps and cut them apart. So happy and Father's and day are all separate. So I can get just the happy out. Put that on a block. All right, so this is inked up. I'm going to start just a little ways down. I'm going to stamp the word happy. And then I'm going to go right underneath it and stamp it again, and underneath and stamp it again. And just keep going until you can't even see it anymore. And it gives it that really fun cascading look, right? Without a lot of work, it's a really fun little technique that adds a lot of extra to your stuff. All right, so this piece right here, I'm going to take some of my ribbon and just wrap it around. Make sure I've got enough there. And just tie a double knot. Come on. All right, and then I'm just gonna cut the wings down a little bit. All right, so this piece is gonna get, I'm gonna slide that down a little bit. I'm adding a little extra tape near the ribbon so the ribbon doesn't go moving on me. You want this even top and bottom and right up next to where you stamped happy, happy, happy. And then that glitter piece will go right along next to it. And if your glitter's a little bit too wide, you can slide it underneath. There we go. Okay, so these two pieces get attached to each other because otherwise you'd be able to see all the different colors in between. This way it gives it a nice white background for that cork board type thing. And that goes down in here. Then our hammer, we are cutting the handle off the pink and adding it to the gray. And if you want, you can cut all the way around the edges. That's going on our board, right? Kind of hanging there. Then this one I colored with metallic and white. So again, however much you want to do of that. But our measuring tape then gets on the board with one little trinket down here to finish that card off. The pieces that you need from your goodie bag are 2 hammers, a yellow and a gray, 2 wrenches, a gray and a green. You're the most awesome stamped in the green on the gray. And one of your trinkets. Then from this stash, we are, oh, and 2 more things. You've got these little itty bitty silver strips. There should be 2 of them. Haha, I found you. You need those 2. Okay, so this card starts the same way the last one did, where we put our 2 strips down, and then we're going to add the yellow in between. All right, so pretty basic start to it. This time we're going to dovetail both the green and the glitter green. And I find the easiest way to get an even dovetail is just to fold it in half and then add a little extra tape right there at the middle to help keep it where you want it to go. All right, so I'm putting this a little bit up from the yellow so that you can see yellow all the way around. Then the glitter is going to overlap that one and get the same kind of distance above it. Moved. Then trim off your extra. Okay, make sure all the little dots are out of this frame here that's got the stamps. You're the most awesome. All right, we're gonna run some adhesive on the back of those holes and add the silver so that you can see the silver on the front. All right, so when I flip this over, you can see the silver shining through those holes. Get a little bit of that shine. Okay, so that piece is going to get taped down. It's overlapping the green that we dovetailed. And keep it straight best you can. Okay, so do the same thing where we're putting the hammer on the hammer and the wrench on the wrench. Add your little doodad there, and this card's done. From your goodie bag, you need the one that's thank you, you're the most awesome. The two pieces that will end up making this scissors, the little tiny, one of these little guys. Ooh, where are you? Come here. One of those little guys. And the card starts the same way, where now we're doing the blues on the outside. The pink's going to go through the middle. So I want to make sure. I had a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to put the gap at the bottom since we're going to be covering that up anyway. So I'm going to dovetail both of these with my scissors. So the blue I'm going to bring down onto the blue just a little bit. So it'll be kind of bottom heavy. I want the silver to come up onto that blue a little bit. So that's going to go just like that, and we'll trim off the excess. Then we're going to add this glitter piece. And when we add the white, I'm putting a frame up here. When we add this white stamped piece here, we really need to use glue dots, something that's going to be more sticky than just your regular old tape, because it, when you're sticking stuff to glitter, it just doesn't work great with your regular adhesives. All right, so get all that on there, and we're going to add that. You also could use foam tape, and using the foam tape also makes it super sticky. So then our little nut is going to go right in here. And then our scissors are going to get attached. You want the one that's got the hole on the top, and just kind of line them up like that. So I'm putting tape on both of them. There you go. I'm going to put this piece down first, and this one's going to go on top so that it looks like it's cutting. And I really feel like I just want to put this little gem right in here. I love how that finishes it off. And we've got a little bow that you can add or not to finish off this card. The pieces you need from your goodie bag are the last two hammers, these two wrenches, the drill and the drill bit, the Happy Father's Day. This card again starts the same way the last three did, where we're going to put those strips on the outside, add that bigger piece to the middle, and then we're going to add those. I've already gone ahead and dovetailed them, the dovetailed pieces. The blue one I want to frame kind of along the top of that orangish section. That's Cajun Craze there. Then we're going to add the sideways rainbow piece. And that's going to come just down a little bit onto that striped paper. And then the glitter piece will overlap that. So you just got this nice little cluster down here. You can use foam tape or just regular tape, but we want that to overlap the glitter just a little bit there. Use my scissors to trim the overhang. Oh, and actually I see on here, I lined it right up to the edge. So I'm gonna hopefully not make a mess. And just line this up right over here. That looks pretty cool. Okay. So we've got our drill. That's gonna go right up here with our drill bit. And then again, with our hammers and our wrenches, just cut off the colored piece and add it to the gray. And this one, I kind of tucked underneath the Happy Father's Day on here. So let me just slide it under there ever so slightly. There we go. And then cutting off this. And then again, if you want, go back through and add some markers, white gel pen, silver metallic pen, whatever you want to do to enhance these. But I think they're also super cute, just left alone just the way they are, right? So options for you, but bring that up close so you can see all the details that I added. I added white gel around these little loops, put silver in there, white gel through here and down in here, white gel lines through there and here. Add your little trinket there, and I did do a tiny little knot down in the corner. Okay, pieces that you need. The pink measuring tape. Thank you. The little, excuse me, yellow tab that goes on the measuring tape and one of the gems. So here, let me bring this up close. I added a piece of ribbon to just the red, but I feel like it gets lost. So what I'm going to do on this one, I wanted to kind of compare. I'm going to add some adhesive along the back side, and I'm going to run this so that it covers some of the blue too. Yeah, I feel like that just pops a little better. So you decide, which layer you want to add your ribbon to, but I think it really kicks it up a notch if you add a little bit of that ribbon, right? And then get some more tape on there. So this thank you is going to go near the upper left corner of the card. Then we're going to add our thank you. Yeah, I just like that one so much better. It just pops a little more, don't you think? All right, so the measuring tape is going to overlap in here. You can add that teeny tiny little yellow tape right to it. And I finished the card off by adding some silver marker to certain little places. It helps make that little yellow tab stick out a little more if it's got the silver. A knot and a trinket to finish that one up. All right. So you need your paintbrush, this little green swish, the wrench, you're the most awesome, a little trinket, and a little bit of ribbon. Blue goes on the card front, and then we're going to add our rainbow. You want that good rainbow to be down in the bottom right corner so that the rainbow part makes sense. Then I'm just going to do a knot with the ribbon. a single knot. And if you use a little bit of tape to help hold it in place, it'll go right where you want it to be. So I'm going to tape that down, but I didn't put any tape in this corner here so that I can still get that wrench underneath. So that's going kind of in the middle, a little bit further down than the middle. Tucking the wrench underneath. And I want that to go onto the blue to help it stand out a little bit more. And I'm just going to taper these down. And then I'm going to use some of this adhesive to help make sure that ribbon doesn't go anywhere on me. All right, so just a little boop. And now it's right where I want it to be. On this last one, since it's the last one, I'm just going to do a quick little cut around the edges. So this one comes up nice and close like that first one that we did. There we go. All right, so our paintbrush is a little more up close and personal now. You get rid of the little edges along the side. So for this one, I stamped that little tiny green, or little tiny stamp that goes at the end of the paintbrush in green, because that's the part of the paint or the rainbow that I'm painting at that point is the green, right? So that's why I did that. I used the white gel pen to add lines to the paintbrush, did some silver lines, some brown, added so that this wooden paintbrush had a little more dimension to it. And then your little swish of paint just kind of goes right underneath the word awesome. Add your trinket, and that is it. So that is my Boho Vibes Trusty Tools card workshop. It's all 12 cards for $25. I still have, I think, 2 kits of this left. Let me know if you want your name on it. Thanks for watching, my friends. Please comment. Mwah.